Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back in the gumbo pot. It's the holidays, the temperatures are dropping, we've got the gumbo cooking, we've got boudin on the table, the TV's turned off, and we've got friends coming over for game night. That's right, this is that time of year where we need games in our collection that can play with lots of different people. Maybe the rule sets are simple because we've got friends that don't play hobby games as much as we do. So I've got a list of 10 games that I want to show you that are games are appropriate for the holiday season, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those different types of get-togethers with your friends. Now, got a couple of caveats with these games. I've tried to pick games that are just within the last couple of years. Either they've been republished as a new edition, or this is a brand new game of the last couple of years. They've got to play at least four people, preferably even more. We've got some games that'll go as much as 10 or 12 people, and the rule sets have to be pretty simple. In other words, you can teach them in a minute or two and get people right into the action. So, with that as the caveat, here's 10 games that you can play with your friends and family for the holidays. The first game I want to talk about is a game for four players. We'll move up to bigger player counts after that. This one is a new game from Fight in a Box Games. It's Puppies or Poop. It's based on a game, if I remember right, about squirrels that they had published before. But this has a friendly fall theme with puppies walking around the backyard. And the game is for players to place out a 5x5 grid of puppy cards and farm cards. And then once they're all out and they're all face down, we'll pick those back up and we're trying not to step into poop. I mean, it's a pretty easy game to teach because the way that Seppi Yoon, who's the designer of the game, designed it, there's two parts to it. The first part is just building out that 5x5 grid, and then the second part is picking those cards up. So on your turn, players are just going to flip over a card and they'll put them face up. And then, so everybody can see it, and we're trying to remember where those cards are. We get a system of how to do this. It's a memory game. And then you take one of the cards in your hand and you'll place that card face down and replace it with any card that's face up. So I know there's a puppy there. Maybe I want to place this one here, and I've got this now in my hand. And we'll go around the room, we'll go around the table, each person doing that until the whole grid is set up. And so let's say we won't set them all up, but let's just put these out here. We've got these different cards. Oh, these are all special cards, so that'll make it easy to teach us part here. Oh, yep, nice. All right, now these cards are all going to be face down, and let's say this is a 5x5 grid. Then each player in turn on, and all the cards are out. Then each player in turn order is going to tap one, flip it over, and hopefully it's a puppy card. But some of these cards have special powers, like this one allows you to go again, take another turn. Always a good thing in this game if you don't know what that next card is going to be. This one gives you an extra health. In other words, your little puppy love allows you to pick up 4 pieces of poop instead of 3. So that's not bad at all. Puppies and the houses are safe cards, so those are fun to pick up. Poop, not good. You don't want 3 of the poop. And then this one lets you skip your next turn, so you last a little longer. Remember, this is a game about lasting long. Trying to stay in the game as long as you can. So it's a simple game to teach. It's got this really funny theme about stepping in poop with the dogs running around. The game only takes 10 minutes. So even though there is technically player elimination as you get bopped out, you're only going to have to wait a minute for the game to finish. So this is a great game for playing with family, and especially with kids that like memory games, because for some reason kids are sometimes better than adults at memory games. That's Puppies or Poop from Fight in a Box Games. All right, the next one on the list is Wine Cellar from 25th Century Games, designed by Andrew Stiles. I picked this one for 2 reasons. Number one, it plays up to 8 players in only 20 minutes, but it gives you a good chunky game feeling. So hobby gamers are going to enjoy it just as much as family gamers because the rules are pretty light. But number two, it's got a cool theme. It's a wine cellar, and a lot of times during the holidays around food and fun, we do have everybody's bringing a little bottle of wine or some other kind of spirit to share. So it's a great theme for that. The game is super easy to teach. I've set it up for 2 players, but it'll play up to 8. You just have to set the deck up correctly. You'll distribute the cards equally between the 2 players, leaving 2 for the middle. So we've got 8 in each hand. And then players are going to pick one of these cards here in an effort to score as many points as possible by drafting 8 wine bottles for their collection. They'll do it one at a time. We'll take one of these cards, we'll place it face down, and then we'll reveal those cards. And the person with the highest bid value, that's the number here at the top, is going to get to go first in picking the wines for their collection. And then the second player, and so on. But the trick is that when you're picking the wine, you'll place it into your collection sideways like this. And then every choice after that is going to be above or below, but never splitting it. So if these are my 2 cards here, when I draft my next card, let's say I drafted this one, it's got to go at the top or bottom, but not in the middle. So it creates that tough choice. It creates those tough choices because, as you can see from the cards, each one of these cards scores a little bit differently. And the graphic design is really well done. You can see that I don't want these cards here in the last parts of the, the bottom of my shelf, because the rounds go from left to right and they go from top to bottom in that same order. I want these cards to be up closer to the top because they score more higher in my collection. These don't score as high bottom of the collection. I probably want this one, if I can, at the bottom. But once I make my choice, it's set there. So at the end of the game, we'll just go left to right all the way down and score those points. And I love the graphic design because it's bolded those areas that score more points. So it's easy to see anywhere from the table. And it's very faint for the ones that score very few points. Again, easy to see. There's another way to score points. You've got these client cards. And as you can see, we're going to have to pick one of these cards at the start of the game, and we'll discard the other one. And what this does is it gives us some goals to shoot for. For instance, in this game, I'm looking for sparkling wine like this. And every bottle I have in my collection is worth 6 points. Or I want rosés. I don't think there's any up here. Oh yeah, there's one. I'll score 2 points per bottle for that. Also, I've set it up for 1 or 2 players, but you can do more. I'm looking for country of origin because all the wine bottles are from around the country. And actually, the wine bottles have little details on them telling you, what that wine's about or what it tastes like or what it smells like. So it's cool little information on the words here. But this one says I'm looking for American bottles, and I'll get a bonus of 3 points per bottle. So we'll total all those up, and the winner is the one with the most points at the end after the 8 rounds. Like I said, it only takes 20 minutes to do this. This game is, as you can see, easy to teach because you're teaching the 2 parts of the game, the drafting and the collecting, and you can teach it as you play in the first round or 2. At the end of 15 or 20 minutes, you'll be done, and then you can set it up again for any players that want to play. They can jump in, jump out, and it plays up to 8. It's a great choice for holiday parties and family fun. So that's Wine Cellar from 25th Century Games. All right, everybody loves a good, silly party game when you're playing for the holidays, and Duck and Cover is one of my favorite games that have come out in the last 10 years. I mean, we have played a ton of Duck and Cover. This is from Captain Games, and it plays, in the original box, it plays from 2 to 7 in about 20 minutes. But from the BGG store, or if you see Captain Games at a convention, that's where I got mine, you can get a little promotional pack that has additional decks that allow, that's what this one is, that allow you to play up to 9 players, if I remember right. So I do have that here. So it comes with these little reference cards that for all the different play counts. So if I was playing a 2-player game, I'd leave this out. And what I'm looking for is, we're going to try to score as many points as possible. We're ducks in a bathtub. They're all taking a nice bath, and we're trying to make as few splashes as possible. The splash points are right here in those little splash bubbles, and the big numbers are what we are going to activate as we play the game. And the game is super easy to teach. I've played it with kids as young as 4, and of course grandma can play with us too. So we just shuffle this captain's deck here, flip it over, and whatever number that is, we call it out to everybody, and everybody's got to play the number 12. We're going to activate the number 12. If the 12 is available, we'll either duck or cover. And ducking is just moving to an open spot anywhere on the board. There's no adjacency. I can just move anywhere I want. Or I can cover, and that means I move the card over adjacently to an adjacent space, or diagonally away. So that's right, up and down, left and right. So I could go to here if I wanted to cover that 4, or I could move to get closer to maybe a 1 or a 0. and I would make that choice, and we'll keep doing that. All right, so let's say that we're just rolling through. Now we've got 11. So the 11 is covered. At that point, I've got to let everybody know that I don't have 11, and I say quack. And that's the fun thing at conventions or with kids where everybody's quacking. If everybody at the table quacks, meaning that they don't have that card, then that card comes out and it heads toward this goal of, in the 2-player game, 9 cards. It gets lower for, for instance, a 7 for a 4-player game, or just 3 for an 8-player game, or 2 for a 9-player game. So it doesn't take long to quack. And so when that happens, whenever we get to that number in a 2-player game, for instance, 9, or in a 9-player game, 2, then we'll stop and we'll total up the points. Whatever the points are that are face up on the board, that's our total score. Except there is one unusual little twist. If a player can get their cards by covering to be just one stack of cards, for instance, it's like this. Let's say, we're doing this, and then we moved, we ducked, and we covered, and then as our last play, before we hit this mark here, the last play, someone covers their last card, leaving just one stack of card. That also is a game end trigger. And that point, whatever the points are on the splash points, it's actually the reverse. It's negative. So instead of getting a point, they'll get a -1 point. So since you're playing over a certain amount of rounds, there is a tendency that 1 or 2 players are going to get out ahead. A couple other players are going to have some bad rounds, get pretty far back. But I love this as a little catch-up mechanism, because those players in the last round, they're going to be doing the opposite. They're going to be trying to leave their big 5 out and just get down to 1-5. And that way it's a -5 instead of a +5, which could make all the difference whenever you're trying to score the points for that, for the winner. So again, we're trying to get the lowest amount of splash points. What I like about this game is artwork is fun. The decks are all the same, but they all have unique artwork on them, and kids like to pick their favorite ducks, and the sci-fi ducks, or the movie monster ducks, or the amusement park food ducks. It's fun. That part is fun. And then the game is easy to teach. There's only really 2 rules. You're either ducking or covering, and you can explain all the rest of it. There are some bonus cards in here that'll they're in the box, but they'll do things like they'll add some special rules, like do the same duck again, or do your biggest duck. But again, you could teach all of those rules and really most of the game while you play. And that's a perfect holiday game. So this is a super high recommendation. That's Duck and Cover from Captain Games. Some game nights are all about quiet fun, but some game nights you just want to get a little boisterous, right? Squirrel Away is our next choice, and this is a good one for families that like to call each other out, like to have fun, like to get a little loud during their gaming. And that's what's fun about this game. This is designed by Clarence Simpson and is published by Floodgate Games. It plays up to 6 people. I've got it set up with 4 people, and the setup is very simple. Each person is going to get a little squirrel stash with reminders on the back. The graphic design on here is very well done. It reminds you of all the rules. We've got a bunch of different acorns that are going to go into the pile with 4 different colors: the red, the clear, the blue, and the green. We've got 3 scoundrel tokens for calling out the other players, and then we've got our hand of 5 cards. These are kept secret. On our turn, it's very simple. We're going to play a card face down, and then we're going to reach into here, grab one of these, grab whatever amount of squirrel acorns that we want, and then we'll announce what's on our card. Not what's on our hand, but what's on our card. Let's say I say it's a blue and red on my card. And then around the table, people are going to have to decide, am I telling the truth? Did I take a blue and red in my hand? Or is that true that the card is a blue and red? What I'm trying to do is to get one of each color, because every set that I get gets stored in my little nut stash. And at the end of the game, that's going to be a point for every set. So players are going to be eyeing what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to get. They also know what cards are available because it's back on this cheat sheet. So let's say it goes around the table, and this person says, I challenge you. You're a scoundrel. You're not telling the truth. They have to decide, is it the hand or is it the card? I announced blue-red. They could say, I don't think you grabbed the blue-red because I was watching what you were doing. Or I think you're trying to sneak more than what your card says. So let's say they say it's the card. We'll flip it over, and nope, the green is obviously not what I said. I said blue and red. I was trying to sneak in 2 acorns instead. So what I'll have to do is only take one of the acorns and put that here, and then they get to keep an acorn of their choice and put that there. Now, if I had taken one and I'd announced that I was the green one, and somebody said, "Oh, I think you're trying to take a red one because you needed one," then I could reveal and show, "Nope, this is a." I'm sorry, I didn't notice it's both of them. If it's green and clear, and if it was green and clear, and they thought that when I said blue and if I announced it was green and clear and it was right, and they thought that I was lying, I was a scoundrel, then I get to get an extra acorn and put that in my stash. And again, if I have 4 different colors, I get to move them to the back. So you play like that until everybody either runs out of cards or there's just no more scoundrel tokens to call out any other player. And then you'll total up who has the most amount of these collective sets of all 4 of the colors, and that's the winner of the game. As you can see, this game is very very interactive. Players have to watch each other, and there's a little twist that kind of elevates the game. Because if it was just take a turn, take something, and everybody's watching you, but the rules say that as soon as you make that announcement and you do the reveal at that point, even though you're settling up and people are going, "Oh, okay, well, you weren't correct, so you got to put those back, just keep one, and I'm going to get one." While that's going on, the next player can take their turn. So you can be really sneaky as long as you do it accurately. While this player to my right is settling up their turn, I can say, "I'm playing this. It's a blue and red, and hurry up and grab these things and put it in my hand." While everybody else is paying attention to them and not paying attention to me, I can even be surreptitious and kind of move my hand around and see if I can grab some that I need and pull them back, or make people think I've taken more. So that kind of elevates the game for what would have been kind of just a simple game into a little bit more strategy, because the timing is important when you make your play. That's Squirrel Away. Great little family game for up to 6 players. Lots of interactivity, and it's going to get a little loud on your game night if you like that. And that's from Floodgate Games. Sometimes your holiday game nights need a challenge, right? I've got a game for you. It's called What Can I Say? It's from Pipnetic Games. That's a party game division created by Dr. Steve Finn, who's made a lot of our favorite games around here. This game is a challenge and a lot of fun. The game is simple. We're trying to score as many points as possible by separating into 2 teams, and each team is going to take turns with one person being a clue giver, giving out clues, while everybody at the table is guessing. If I'm the clue giver and my team gets the word right, we get 2 points. If the other team gets the word right, they get a point. And the round will end either when the timer runs out, or all the words are guessed, or I mess up and I don't do the rules right. And we have 3 times. If we get bopped 3 times, that'll also end the round. So how do we start the round? We'll just make sure we have 4 rules here. And then I, as the clue giver, along with the referee from the other team who can't guess, they're just watching what I'm doing to make sure I'm doing everything right. I've got this word list. I'll pick one of these 3 here. Let's say I pick A, and I've got to try to give out clues for all 6 of these words before the timer runs out, hoping that my team gets those guesses. But what are the rules to those clues? I've got to use the rules that are listed on these 4 cards. For instance, right now we have words ending in ing, words that begin with C, words that begin with F, or I can reveal the number of letters in a target word, which normally I can't do. So if I was using this first word, hug, I'm going to give out clues that have to match at least one of these or all of the rules. They don't always have, every clue doesn't have to match all the rules, but it has to match at least one, and the referee's going to be watching me to do that. So with hug, I might say things like friendly, caring. That actually fits for both of these rules, ing and C. It's got 3 letters. Friendly, caring, 3 letters. So I'm giving out these, and whichever team shouts out the answer first will get that point card. Whenever we run out of words, or the timer runs out, or if I mess up the rules 3 times, then we'll total up that score. 2 points for my team, 1 point for every word that the other team guesses, and we'll keep doing that for a certain number of rounds till everybody has a turn to be the guesser, and we'll total up the points, and that's the winner. As you can see, the rules aren't that. The rules are pretty straightforward. They're not that deep. It's the gameplay themselves. The fact that you're trying to give out clues to match with one of these rules with that timer just staring at you while people from both teams are shouting out those words. The referee even has a challenge too because they're trying to make sure you're saying the clues right while also awarding the points correctly. So it's challenging, it's fun, it's loud, it's boisterous, it's the perfect kind of a word game night and word game for a game night. Although I say it's loud, there's a lot of thinkiness too. There's a lot of times where you're struggling to kind of come up with a clue that's going to match these things. So it's if you like thinky, puzzly, thinky, challenging type games, this is a game for you. What can I say about what can I say? I can say it's a lot of fun, and it's from Pipnetic Games from Dr. Steve Finn. Check this one out for your holiday gaming. We've been mixing in social deduction games like Werewolf for many years, 20 or 30 years on our holiday game nights. And if you're like us and you're looking for one like that, I've got one for you. Our next game is The Office Paper Paranoia. It's from the op, and it's got a lot of the familiar mechanisms. Over the course of 12 weeks, the interns at Dunder Mifflin are trying to keep the office branch open and not lose to the dreaded Osprey branch, Osprey Paper Company. So we're going to have some loyalty cards. We'll shuffle those up depending on the player count. Each player will secretly get one of those, whether they're an intern for Dundler or an intern for Osprey. And then each round, the head intern is going to flip over a task card, and the task card is going to just tell us what we have to do and who has to be on the teams. So especially in the friendly fashion where you don't even talk about your cards, you can play any way you want. The rules suggest 3 different variants, but you can play where you just each player has their own cards, and you don't have to worry about lying or trying to bluff or do any of those things, all the way up to everything goes, and you can just bluff and lie your way about what cards you have, especially if you're the Osprey interns. So when you're looking at the task, each player is going to have to add to the requirements for that task depending on what the head intern pulls. So they've got accounting, sales, and customer service interns. Each one of us is going to be part of one of those different teams. Each one of the task cards are going to require a different amount of interns, and depending on the types of groups. For instance, in this one, they're looking for customer service and accounting. So that way, every round is going to be a little bit different, and players are going to contribute toward the task secretly. And at the end, what most of the tasks are going to also have Ryan, Brian, of course, from the show, throw in to kind of throw people off, so that way you can't just math out exactly who we think the Osprey Paper Company saboteurs are. We'll do that. And if the company survives till 12 weeks and none of the Osprey interns are on that final team, in other words, the ones that are going to be starting the branch, then the Dunder Mifflin people win. If at any time we lose 5 different tasks, or even just one Osprey employee sneaks their way into the final team, then Osprey wins. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple game. The rules are very similar for anybody that's played social deduction, so you can introduce to anybody that's played Mafia or Wolf or the Wolves or any of those games like that. But it's got this cool theme with The Office, and you're gonna recognize a lot of the characters, and a lot of the little wink winks from the show are inside the task card. So this is a pretty good one for family game nights during the holidays if you like those social deduction games. Next game I want to talk about is one that you've probably heard, you've probably played, you probably even own this game, and that's Codenames from CGE. But the reason I'm bringing it up now is because there's a new edition that's out with a couple of tweaks to it. The artwork's been refreshed, and the rule book has been streamlined to make it easier to teach. But more importantly, they have an app for Codenames, and people have been playing so much on that app. The developers have been able to use the data from the app to really hone in on the words that make the gameplay more fun, and words that are easier to use or words that are more challenging, words that are duds, words that people don't like to do or had trouble with. They've been able to get rid of those to bring in words that are going to make the game flow better. Game still plays essentially the same. It's a competitive game between 2 teams, and each round is going to select a clue giver, and that clue giver is trying to give out these secret words, these code names to their their own personal agents, either the red team or the blue team, whichever team they are on. And while they're giving out those clues, they're one-word clues that'll tie into a number of words. Like they'll say something like sun 3 or something. And that means that there are 3 words here on the board that all relate to the word sun. But the trick is you want your team to guess your team's colors. That is shown by this little cheat sheet here. And there's one for each round. And you don't want them to pick the other team's colors or the spy, because the spy could cause you to lose. And you play to a certain number of points for each round. And this is a game that people can jump in, jump out. It's thinky. It's easy to teach, and it's a lot of fun for families. We've been playing it for years at a lot of our game nights. So I just want to bring up the second edition because it's streamlined. It's made the game a little bit easier to teach and easier to play. So check that out, Codenames from CGE. Maybe your family likes completely cooperative games. Well, I've got one for you. That's BoubaKiki from Grand Gamers Guild. It's designed by Jonathan Schaefer. Plays a bunch of people. And basically in this game, we discover this alien planet, and we're trying to communicate with the aliens, and we go through a series of missions. And what I like about it is it starts with just kind of the base game, and then it develops the rules as it goes forward. So perfect for playing with family, especially for friends and family who don't play a lot of games. This is one sort of like The Crew, where you can introduce the rules slowly one at a time. The introductory is pretty simple. We've got this hit and miss tracker up here, and we're trying to get the hits to 0 before the misses gets to 0. And we do that. The clue giver is going to look at these 3 alien language words, and in the first scenario only, it's going to change as the game goes forward. They'll play a card, and let's say they think that this card is very similar to one of those. They'll put a token down signifying what that is, and then the rest of us, the other players, we're going to look at those, and we'll try to figure out what does that player think this looks like. So maybe I think it's Fanet, so I'll play my 3. I'll play that upside down. And maybe the other player thinks it's also a 3. And then we'll reveal if their token was a 3 when we reveal their token, then for each one of those hits, we'll get to move this towards the goal of 0. But if they had placed a 2 and it was actually a 3, then we'd get 1 hit and 1 miss. And we'll keep doing that until either the hits or the misses get to 0. Like I said, there's a bunch of missions in the book, sort of like The Crew or any of its progeny. And so this is a game that you can play over a weekend or play a bunch of sessions back to back or a regular game night. But it's also easy to play for the holidays because anybody can just jump in at any time. Just get a hand of cards and start playing these words. That's BoubaKiki from Grand Gamers Guild. Every holiday game night needs a game that's super easy to teach and everybody can play, and that's Red Letter, Yellow Letter. This is from 25th Century Games, and it's designed by Nathan Thornton. You'll remember Nathan Thornton from a bunch of other party games, especially one of my favorite party games of all times, Green Team Wins. This game is so easy to introduce. There's just 3 different decks, a thing deck, and then a yellow deck, and then a red deck. And the decks are face up, and basically when we say go, everybody around the table can start shouting out words that match what is face up on the decks. So we're looking for a song that starts with L and ends with O. So Love Me Do would not work because it's got an O in it. We could think of landmine. Landmine would be one. So if that happens and I guessed it correctly before anybody else, then I could take one of these 3 cards, and that's my card. And then that starts a new round. We got a candy bar that starts with L and doesn't have O. And so we keep doing that until someone has collected 3 thing cards, 3 yellow letter cards, and 3 red letter cards. And the first person to collect all 9 cards, 3, 3, and 3, wins the game. Super easy to teach. The only rule that you have to figure out is 2 rules. Number 1, just be cool. If there's an issue with one of the words or somebody says something, just point it out and keep the game moving. And the second is you can't have more than 3 cards of any one particular stack. If that happens, you got to pick from a different stack because remember, it's 3, 3, and 3. The game keeps getting refreshed because players are taking cards, and as soon as you get this new card, it could change everything. Or if you get this one, it could change everything on there. So super easy to teach. People can jump in and out. We're just trying to get to 9 cards. plays very fast and everybody can jump in. It's a great little holiday game. Red letter, yellow letter from 25th Century Games. Last game I want to show you is a game that we played a bunch. It's one of our favorite games the last couple of years. It's the greatest card game of all time, according to the front of the box. It's Flip 7 from the Op. Fantastic game. This game is a push your luck game. It's going to be where you're flipping cards one at a time and passing them around the table. And each player is trying to score as many points as they can without busting. You bust if you get cards, 2 cards are the same in your tableau. So if you have a 5 already, you don't want to draw another 5 because then you'll bust. The cards themselves, the deck is made up of cards that have the same number of cards as the number itself. So there's 12, 12, 11, 11s, 10, 10s, 9, 9s, and so forth down to 1, 1, and a 0. The 1 and 0 are obviously valuable, even though they don't score a lot of points, because another way to end your round and score bonus points is to have 7 numbered cards in your tableau. If you do that, that ends your round, but you get a bonus score toward it. We play to a certain number of points, and the first person to get to those points at the end of a round, when someone reaches the threshold, whoever has the most is going to be the winner. There are some special cards in the deck. As you can see, we have the 0 through 11 and one more 12 card. And then we have 4 special cards in the deck. The orange cards are kind of manipulation cards. They will go above the cards and either add value or maybe double the value of the cards. We've got the second chance cards. That is useful because it will allow you to stop from being busted. So if you pull a 3 and you already had a 3, you could just burn the second chance card instead. The flip 3 card allows you, either you or an active player still at the table, you can give them that card and they have to flip 3 cards in a row, which could bust somebody, but also helps you to maybe try to catch up if you're trying to win the game. And then the freeze card is exactly what you think it is. If a player's doing very well, maybe they're one of the top players, they're getting close to 200, whatever the point value you've set, the freeze card will stop them right in their tracks, and that ends their round, and they score whatever points are on there. Even if they have a second chance card, it stops the round. But that's about it. You'll pass out cards to each player at the table. That's their starting hand. If any of these cards come out, you're going to deal with it right away. And then you go one player at a time, and you just say, you want to hit? Yes. Okay. Oh, that's a bust. 2 5s is a bust. And you'll keep going around until everybody either stays or busts. That's Flip 7. A fantastic game. Super easy to teach. Has tons of stand-up moments. Yes, it's very lucky, but that's okay. For a short game like this, especially when you're just playing with family or friends, it's the perfect complement to any holiday game night. All right, that's 10 great games for you to play with your family and friends at holiday gaming. I probably missed some of your favorites, right? There must be a game or two that's come out in the last couple of years that you like to play during holiday gaming. Put it in the comments below or hit us up on social media at Game Gumbo and let us know. But until next time, laissez les bon temps rouler.